Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. Today we're going to be doing a classic Warlock build. This is going to be a beginner's guide video going in depth from level 1 all the way up to level 6. Now, before we start this kind of walk through this build guide, I do want to say that, Baldur's Gate is best designed to play how you want to do it. So think of this as more of a guide and not a how-to. Mix and match whatever you like. But I'm going to be showing you what I found works really well, and of course why exactly I'm putting it in the build as well. But if you have a different combination, then let me know down in the comments. Now, Warlock is really fascinating because you can do a lot of different things with a Warlock build, and a lot of them involves multi-classing. Now, for the sake of this video, this is just going to be a pure Warlock build. Now, when we talk about our race, any kind of race would work well. I would particularly choose any kind of race that has a dark vision of some kind. In other words, you can see in the dark. It's going to help us out really, really well with the Warlock build. When it comes to background, it doesn't really matter. But again, I would probably choose something that gives you arcane proficiency, perhaps even history proficiency. Now, being a level 1 Warlock does get you something very special. Of course, that is Eldritch Blast. This is the bread and butter of the Warlock build completely. It's our main attack and the thing we're going to be focusing and, of course, building this class around. Now, as you can see, we also get Mage Hand. Mage Hand is a really good little cantrip that we can use. It has so much utility. We can obviously throw potions with this, throw grenades with this. I quite like using it to go across to different areas and that I can't necessarily get to, maybe even behind a gate or over a gap that I can't jump to. Mage Hand is just so useful for so many different things. Sometimes in Baldur's Gate 3, you really do need to think outside the box, and I think Mage Hand allows you to do that. Now, being a Warlock allows you to pick a subclass right off the bat, and there's a few good ones here. There are really no bad options. However, I do like the Fiend, and I like it for exactly this reason. This armor is so overpowered. You can use it when you wake up every single day. It lasts until you have a next long rest, and it's just very, very useful and what we're going to be using. We also get the Dark One's Blessing, which will level up as, of course, we level up with us as well. Now, we are going to pick the armor. Now, what this armor does is if anyone attacks us with a melee hit, well, we kind of make them suffer for doing that. We attack back, essentially, they get damage done to them. So it's really, really useful. You can even run around recklessly, triggering a little bit of that. We're also going to choose Hellish Rebuke because that allows us to deal damage back to anyone that targets us with a spell. Now, that also happens to be a passive ability. In other words, you don't have to do anything at all within the game to allow that to work. And remember, guys, we're still on level 1. A level 1 Warlock is incredibly powerful when you consider the other classes in the game. For our ability points, again, it's a really good idea to note that you don't get anything for an odd number. So setting something to 17, for instance, doesn't mean we're going to have any better checks when it comes to an ability check on charisma. When we have 13 dexterity, that's not going to allow us to attack any further or hit any better. And the same with constitution, it's not going to give us more hit points if we're on an odd number. Baldur's Gate works that way. It's only when you're on an even number that you're going to get the full points, as you will, for that stat. With all that being said, we do want to max charisma as fast as possible. We also want decent dexterity, and of course we do want some constitution as well. Strength and wisdom are dump stats. And of course, when it comes to your skill proficiencies, choose whatever you want, whatever you have available to you. Obviously, this does massively determine on the race that you've chosen, and of course, your backstory and stuff like that too. But it really doesn't matter. It's whatever you need in your party at the time. Now, at level 2 of Warlock, we do actually have something very, very useful coming to us. But first of all, we do get to pick our spells. Now, Hex is a really good option because it adds a damage modifier to our base attack. That is, of course, Eldritch Blast. Now, there are other options, but right now on level 2, I would choose Hex. Now, of course, we get our two passive incarnations. The first one you're going to be wanting to take is, of course, Agonizing Blast, which essentially adds your charisma modifier to your damage, meaning that now your blast is going to be doing a lot more damage. And that is why you want to be upping your charisma as quickly as possible. Then we're going to be putting on Repelling Blast. That, of course, pushes enemies away, meaning it gives you a little bit of distance sometimes when people get a little bit too close, perhaps even shooting them off the edge of the cliff if you want to kill someone quickly. Now, at level 3, we do get access to another spell. Now, Misty Step is very bloody useful to allow us to go where we want on the battlefield, but we also want darkness because when it comes to being a warlock, we can do a few rather decent sneaky things. It also has decent utility elsewhere in the game. Now, we do also have a Pact boon. This is something that can be really useful for us because the first one is Pact of Chain. That essentially allows us to summon little pets, which I do quite like. The next good one, in my opinion, is Pack of Tone, because here we get guidance. Now, Shadowheart normally has guidance anyway. This allows us to keep her doing that, but more importantly, later on, as we level up, as our pact gets even better, we get access to haste. At level 4, really what we get here is a new spell, and that works well for us because we do need a couple extra spells here. First of all, though, we do get to pick a brand new cantrip. I don't really like any of these, to be fair. If I'm going to pick out one of them, it's going to be Blade Ward because it gives you, a slight buff against piercing and slashing, that kind of damage. When it comes to our spell that we're going to pick, in my opinion, Misty Step is an absolute shoo-in. And of course, because we are now level 4, we do get a brand new feat. Now, I would recommend picking your ability improvements just because this is your first real chance to properly boost up your character. And of course, now we can take charisma to 19. Now, in Act 1, there is a way to get an extra modifier to any ability you wish. I would choose it again for this, taking that charisma up to 20 as fast as possible, making your Eldritch Blast as powerful as possible early on. Now, at level 5, we also got a Deepen Pact. Now, if you remember a little bit earlier, we did get that pact. This is the Pact boon, and now our character has access to haste already. We also get to pick a level 3 spell, and as tempted as you are to pick Fireball, I would recommend picking Counterspell. This helps protect your character. Like, seriously, someone wants to put a spell on you, they want to do whatever they want to do to you, you can just veto it. Seriously overpowered, absolutely take Counterspell. Plus, as we're level 5 now, we also get to pick another passive. This is where I would normally pick Devil's Sight because it allows us to see in darkness. In fact, it gives us superior dark vision, essentially. Now, if you already are a character that can see in darkness, perhaps don't pick this. There are some really good other options as well. But for this build and what we're doing right now, I've picked Devil's Sight because it allows us to utilize darkness. And at level 6, we do get the Dark One's own luck, allowing us to put a little modifier on anything we want. This is optional, however. We also get to pick another level 3 spell. And of course, this is when you can pick Fireball, because I know everyone always wants to just pick Fireball. Myself included, if I can't solve it with Fireball, I get a bit sad. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, right back at level 1, I told you to pick up this spell. And basically, after a long rest, when you wake up, pop this on. It will last into your next long rest. It will give you temporary hit points. It really does boost us up really well. And of course, if anyone attacks us with a melee weapon while this is running, it's going to hit them as well. And again, with darkness, the reason I say to get it, because you can see through it, means that people cannot attack you, but you can still use Eldritch Blast. And of course, if you have followed my guide, at this stage you will also have haste. Haste allows you to essentially attack twice for 10 turns in battle, meaning we'd be able to use Eldritch Blast twice. Now at the moment we only get 2 attacks with our Eldritch Blast, but as you can see, it works very, very well. It's very strong, it's great for creating distance, and it has great utility during any battle. I have played as a Warlock for a lot of my gameplay, and I've done a ton of different combinations with the Warlock build. For me, this works best, and it's something that I've really enjoyed playing out, and it's only going to get stronger and stronger as you level up as well. Now, that's all I've got for you in this episode, guys. I will be doing more build guides along the way. If you have a suggestion, if you want to see a particular build guide, let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you have a tweak for any of the guides, again, let us know. Let the community grow with you. But until next time, I've been a monk, we've been Critically Clueless, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.